You know the feeling, right? You're in a workshop, the energy is high, and you generate hundreds of amazing ideas on sticky notes, only to watch them all die a slow, sad death in some forgotten spreadsheet. You're not alone. The real challenge isn't a lack of creativity, it's making the tough call. So today we're going to break down how the best teams cut through that creative chaos to make one single focused bet. Here's a little secret about product development. Coming up with ideas, that's the easy part. It's fun, it's creative, everyone feels good. The real work, the hard stuff, that starts the moment you actually have to choose one. So why is this so incredibly hard? I mean, why do really smart teams get stuck in these endless loops of debate? It's not because they don't have the right tools. It's because of all these hidden psychological traps that quietly sabotage our decisions. To fix this problem, we first have to understand our own brains. Seriously, before we can even touch a framework, we have to shine a light on the cognitive biases that are constantly clouding our judgment as a team. I bet these look pretty familiar. You've got the sunk cost fallacy, where we stick with a bad idea just because we've already spent time on it. The endowment effect, that's when we get way too attached to our own ideas. Then there's groupthink, where nobody wants to rock the boat, even if the boat is sinking. Analysis paralysis, the classic "we just need more data" excuse. And of course, the hippo, the highest paid person's opinion, which can just squash great ideas in an instant. Just knowing these exist is a huge first step. Okay, so to fight these biases, we need a plan. We need structure. And the foundation for all great product work is understanding that there are two totally different modes of thinking. And the trick is to keep them separate. On one side, you have divergence. This is all about imagination. It's about going wide, creating as many choices as possible, and just exploring what could be. This is the fun part. But then, on the other side, you have convergence. This is all about responsibility. It's about making choices, filtering options, and committing real things like time and money. The double diamond model shows this perfectly. You can see we first diverge to understand a problem, then we converge on a clear definition of it. Then we diverge again to brainstorm solutions, and finally converge on the one we're actually going to build. Today, we're zooming in on that critical convergence on the solution because that's exactly where most teams fall apart. Oh man, I learned this the hard way at my first design job. We had this incredible 2-hour brainstorming session, came up with over 200 ideas. The energy was just electric. But then, we spent the next 6 weeks just arguing about them. We didn't build a single thing. And that's when it clicked for me. Divergence is easy. Convergence, that's where discipline and real leadership show up. So how do we bring that discipline? Well, we use frameworks that act like a funnel, helping us systematically filter all that chaos down to just a few strong bets that are actually worth testing. Let's start with the first layer of the funnel. Our first filter is dot voting. It's super simple, it's fast, and it's democratic. Everyone gets a few little dots to vote on their favorite ideas. The whole point is just to quickly see which 10 or 15 ideas have the most heat around them. But here's the crucial thing, and you gotta remember this. Dot voting is not for making the final decision. It's for preparing to make a decision. It just shows you what's popular, not what's actually a good idea. Okay, next up. We bring a dose of reality into the room with the impact versus effort matrix. You take your top ideas from dot voting and you map them out. In the top left, you've got your quick wins, high impact for low effort. You do these now to build momentum. Top right are your strategic bets, high impact but high effort. These need a real plan. The bottom left ideas are just distractions, and the bottom right, those are the traps. Avoid those like the plague. Now, this matrix is a fantastic step forward, but it has one massive, glaring blind spot. It helps you prioritize based on what you think the impact and effort will be. But what if your entire idea, even that quick win, is built on a fundamental assumption that's just completely wrong? And this, right here, is probably the single most important lesson for any product designer to learn. Products almost never fail because the buttons were the wrong shade of blue or the font was a little off. They fail because the team built something on a core belief about their users that turned out to be totally false. The textbook example of this is Juicero. Remember them? They raised $120 million and built this gorgeous, beautifully engineered machine. Their fatal assumption? That people needed a $400 machine to squeeze their proprietary juice packets. The reality? You could just squeeze the packets with your hands. They completely failed to test their most critical assumption. Which brings us to our final, and honestly, our most powerful filter, assumption mapping. For each of your top ideas, you list out everything that has to be true for it to succeed. Then you map those assumptions. And that top left quadrant, that's your danger zone. These are your high-risk assumptions with low evidence. These are the product killers. And these are the things you have to go test right now. You see what this does? It completely changes the conversation. You stop arguing about whether an idea is good or bad. Instead, you're having a real strategic discussion about risk. You're asking a much more powerful question. What needs to be true for this to work, and how can we find out fast? And asking that question, well, that's the heart of the senior product mindset. It's about making the leap from just having ideas to developing concepts that can be put to the test in the real world. Here's what that evolution really looks like. A junior designer might throw out a raw idea, like, let's add gamification. A more senior designer takes that and develops it into a concept, a story about how specific game mechanics could solve a very specific problem for our users. But the final, most crucial step is turning that into a testable hypothesis, a clear statement that says exactly what we expect to happen and how we'll measure if we were right or wrong. Because at the end of the day, winning in this field isn't about having the most clever or the most flashy ideas. That's a huge misconception, and it leads to a lot of beautiful but totally useless products. Real, lasting value is created through the hard, disciplined work of digging up and de-risking your core assumptions. That's the job. That's how you turn 100 different possibilities into one solid bet that actually has a chance of winning. So, if you take just one thing away from this whole thing, please let it be this. Your solutions are disposable. Your ideas are cheap. But the user's problem, that's real. Fall in love with that problem, and I promise you, it will always guide you to the right answer.